So far, we've learned that everything in this universe is made up of matter, and matter is made up of atoms. We explored subatomic particles, protons, neutrons, and electrons, and saw how atoms bond to create compounds. We also discussed the amazing properties of water and its role as a universal solvent. And today, we're going to see how all this knowledge comes together inside living things. So, what makes something alive? Well, one important thing is that all living things are built from organic molecules. These molecules make up the cells in your body, the food you eat, and even your DNA. There are four major types of these molecules. You have carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. We call these macromolecules, which means big molecules. They are essential for all life processes, from giving you energy to storing your genetic code. Before we get into macromolecules, there's one element we need to talk about: carbon. Carbon is the backbone of all living things because it can form four covalent bonds with other atoms. Think of carbon like a flexible puzzle piece. It can fit in many different ways with other elements to build all kinds of molecules. So when we talk about the chemistry of life, it's really about how carbon works with other atoms to form molecules like sugars, fats, proteins, and DNA. Now, let's break these macromolecules down one by one and understand the role in your body. The first type of macromolecule is carbohydrates. You probably know them as sugars or starches. Carbohydrates are made up of monosaccharides, which are single sugar molecules like glucose. With many of these sugars linked together, they form what's known as a polysaccharide, such as starch in plants or glycogen in your muscles. Carbohydrates are like the body's quick energy source. When you eat bread or fruit, the sugars break down in your digestive system and glucose dissolves in the water into your blood. That's why carbohydrates are also water soluble. They travel easily through your bloodstream and give your cells energy. Remember how we talked about solutions and how water dissolves substances like sugar? Well, that same process happens inside your body. Glucose dissolves in your blood, just like sugar dissolves in water. Next up are lipids, which include fats, oils, and waxes. Unlike carbohydrates, lipids don't dissolve in water because they are non-polar. This is why oil floats on top of water instead of mixing with it. Lipids store long-term energy and also make up the membranes of your cells. The cell membrane acts like a barrier, keeping the inside of your cell separate from the outside environment. If lipids mixed with water, your cell would fall apart. Lipids are also important for insulation and protection. Just think about how animals in cold environments use fat to stay warm. Now let's talk about proteins. Proteins are made up of small units called amino acids. When these amino acids link together, they fold into complex shapes to create proteins, and their shape determines what they do. Some proteins act as enzymes, which speed up chemical reactions in your body. Others make up your muscles, hair, and skin. Proteins are like the body's workers and builders, performing all kinds of tasks to keep you alive and healthy. Proteins are very sensitive to changes in pH and temperature. For example, the enzymes in your stomach that help break down food only work in very acidic conditions, around a pH of 2. The last type of macromolecule we'll explore is nucleic acids, which include DNA and RNA. These molecules store and transmit your genetic information. Basically, they are the instruction manual for building your body. DNA uses hydrogen bonds. Remember those weak bonds we talked about earlier? These hydrogen bonds connect two strands of DNA and make sure that the molecule stays stable, but can still unzip when it's time to copy the instructions. So every time a cell divides, it uses nucleic acids to make sure the new cell has all the instructions it needs to function properly. So we've explored the building blocks of life: carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. These macromolecules work together to power your body, build your cells, and store genetic code. In future lessons, we'll dive deeper into how your body breaks down these macromolecules through digestion and how enzymes help speed up those reactions. Until then, think about the foods you eat this week and try to identify which macromolecules they contain. Remember, science isn't just happening in labs, it's happening inside you every day.